Hey guys, Marsingan here, bringing you another Dragon Ball Z Dokkan battle video, and so today we are going to do the EZA AGL Gohan showcase. However, unfortunately, we're on global, so it's this guy and not the LR. So basically, this guy has got his EZA, all the stuff was in the files after the maintenance. I wanted to include this part at the beginning just so that everybody is clear on how you get all of his medals. So you get his medals from the treasure section of the shop, and you can buy them with either version of the plushie that drops from stage 6 of the Gohan and Piccolo story event. Now when you look at the exchange rate for these, this one here, the large plushie, is the one that has the much lower drop rate. So it's actually way more expensive in terms of how long it would take you to grind the things that you need to buy these ones. Because as you can see, it's like 1 plush for 1 medal. These are 2 plush for 1 medal. But when you do one run of this stage, especially if you're using one of those support memories like Oolong or the Bulla Goes Shopping, where you can get the extra drops, you can easily get sometimes even 100 or more of these smaller ones, but then you might get 1 or 2 of these ones. So it definitely works out better to just do the stage a couple of times and get these. They did add missions for beating that stage 5 times in total that gave you some more of these on top as well. So best way to do it is just do the stage 5 times, use the support memory, and then the exact number of medals you need is actually the exact number that is on sale. So you don't need to buy all of these from both versions of the shop. So you can see here, I'm going to buy all of these. I've got enough to buy all of them from the actual, the small plush, like the normal ones. I have enough to buy all of the medals, which technically means the ones on the tab for the large plush are essentially useless, right? Because now I have all the medals to EZA Gohan. I don't need any of these. So if we go back to our boy here, we can awaken, and there you go. You can see we can full Extreme Z awaken him. So I have a spare copy at SA5 that I can feed in, that I farmed up. So we'll get him all leveled up to full, and then we'll jump in and see what he can do. Okay, so here we are in game. We are running him under the double physical LR Ultimate Gohan lead, so he is getting the full 200% leader skill. There are a few good options for link partners for him on this team, including the Tech Gohan. Decent enough, right? 3 links, not the best. We talked about this in the showcase video that I did for this Gohan before he EZA'd. Because he's a Super Saiyan Gohan, his links aren't necessarily the best with some of the units that you might want to run him with on this sort of new build of the 200% Hybrid Saiyans team. Like for example, with the new Gohan, they share 2 links, which is obviously Kamehameha, which will activate when we get enough ki, and then All in the Family. So All in the Family is a good link to get because it's a lot of extra defense. I think at level 10, is it 20%? Yeah, 20%, so it is very good. So let's look at what changed with this guy. So from EZA to pre-EZA to post-EZA, his Bond of Master and Disciple leader skill has gone up to 77%. He also has AGL types, 3 ki and 50%. His super attack greatly raises attack for 1 turn, does supreme damage to the enemy, and greatly lowers attack and defense. I'm fairly sure, I'm just bringing up the page again here, I'm fairly sure the only thing that has changed is that they gave him the greatly lowering attack and defense as opposed to normal. Let's see. Yeah, great. It lowers attack and defense, and now it's greatly lowers attack and defense. And then in terms of his passive, not a lot has really changed here either. So 2 ki, attack and defense 158, launches an additional super that has a great chance to become a super once only, and all attacks are crits in the first turn. So in the first turn, he has a 70% chance to do an additional super. All of his attacks in the first turn are crits. So if you get the God RNG turn, he does 3 supers on turn 1, and they will all be crits, which is very good. He gets 20% attack and defense of each attack performed up to 58, and 20% of each super attack performed up to 58. So again, if he supers 3 times in turn 1, he will be fully maxed out in turn 1. Then he gets chance of performing a crit 20% starting from the turn after he's performed 3 super attacks. Now I believe pre-EZA, yeah, that was 10%, and it's gone up to 20%. And that's another minor change. And then the only other thing they've added in at the very end, an additional defense 58% and a medium chance of launching an additional super when there is an androids category enemy. So I'm guessing then, in theory, if there's an androids enemy on turn 1, then he could actually super 4 times on turn 1, technically. Now, unfortunately, the cell red zone for the red ribbon is gone because they're updating it. So, of course, the event goes away beforehand. So, we just jumped into the cell games Infinite Dragon Ball history, because we will see some stages with an android enemy and some without. So, turn 1, without any build-up, no support on the rotation. He's got 174k defense. Now, remember, whilst he doesn't raise defense on like his actual super attack effect, he is technically raising his attack and defense just by attacking, right, because of his passive. So, 2.2 mil. The downside as well, of course... Okay, he didn't kill him, that's good. I was going to say, the downside is in weaker events like this, you could be wasting his one turn where he's going to get the guaranteed super by killing the enemy. Because here, we obviously didn't get the opportunity to do a potential third super attack from his hidden potential system, because we just killed the enemy straight away. So, let's go ahead and we'll do this. I bought a similar kind of team to the one I bought last time. This STR Super Saiyan 2 Great Saiyaman is definitely not the best unit these days for harder content, but he's a really good link partner for this unit, as well as providing support. So I thought it'd be pretty good to bring him on the team, just so we can see the very best that this Gohan can give. Because I was a little bit impressed with him like pre-EZA. When I did his showcase, he wasn't anything too crazy, but I could see the potential there that like a good EZA could have made him really, really strong. Because I think the best turn we saw for him, he was at like 400k defense at the start of the turn or something, which obviously fully built up because he has no raise on super. That's the most you're going to get. And then, of course, his EZA, all we were hoping was that they would add some kind of like defense raise or something like that. So let me do this. Do you get any extra links from you? You don't. Alright, so start of the next turn. See, now we're already at 446. We are getting the 50% support from Pan, but that is actually really good because we've still got one more stack to go for both parts of his passive. So 20% attack and defense for attacking for the third time, and 20% attack and defense for super attacking for the third time. But also bear in mind we are against a cell enemy, so he is getting the 58% extra defense. So that's probably that is what's massively inflating that number. He's obviously not going to look that good on turn 2 if you're not against an android enemy. But considering he still has room to build up, I do think that maybe he is actually going to be a very solid free-to-play option for android-related enemies specifically, because 58% defense is a pretty significant amount, right? So that was potentially the additional from his... actually, no, the passive part of his thing for an android enemy is just a medium chance of launching an additional super. So if you just get an additional normal attack, then that means that was obviously from his hidden potential. So my Gohan is the one that hasn't attacked yet, so he's going to have guard. So we'll do this. This AGL Gohan is obviously very, very good. I think he's like a must-run unit on Physical Gohan's team. Provides the support, has the heal backup, infinite stacks defense, very, very good. So I will get him floated off eventually, but getting these Gohans built up. Infinite Dragon Ball history is obviously not the hardest event, especially as the stages start to get older. So we can actually just leave one of these Gohans in slot 1. Once they are built up, because I brought a lot of support units that we could float so that we can make this Gohan try and look as good as possible. But I mean, it's such a disappointment. Like, he has the skeleton of a really good kit even when he wasn't awakened and was just the base form Gohan. I think everybody agreed that he really had like the foundations for a really, really strong unit. And as I said earlier, when doing his showcase like pre-EZA when he awakened into Super Saiyan, I could see the potential there for him getting something really, really good. And I mean, I like the extra defense and chance to additional against an android enemy. It fits the theme, and obviously will be useful for some of the events, right? We're getting a lot of these, a lot of the new Red Ribbon Army Red Zone stages are against an android enemy. So, you know, it's a perfect celebration to release a character that does something like that. But at the same time, it feels like he needed just that little bit more. So now on this rotation, we have every single link active except for Kamehameha. And we have 451k defense against a non-android enemy. So against an android enemy, he's going to be pushing... He should be... Well, this is with support as well. But with support, does that mean he's going to be pushing 600k defense at the start of the turn? Because against an Android enemy, for a free-to-play card, that's actually pretty good. So let's see. Let's see what we get here in terms of attack. Obviously, by not fighting an Android enemy, we're not getting any extra buffs. So if he does an additional, it will just be down to the hit potential system. But let's see what we're getting on this turn. 6.5. I mean, 6.5 for a free-to-play unit. I don't think that is that terrible, to be honest. And then there's the additional jumping up to 7. Because remember, he greatly raises attack for 1 turn on Super. So, yeah, 6.5 and then 7 mil. I will take that for a free-to-play unit. 450k defense isn't the best. This is what I say. All they needed to do, make his super attack effect greatly raise attack and defense for 1 turn. And I feel like he might be the best non-LR free-to-play unit in the game, maybe? Right? Because if he's at like 450 defense on that turn, and then he's getting a 50% buff on super, then when you take him against an Android enemy, he's getting an extra 58%. Like, he would be actually crazy. Yeah, I feel like that just by giving him defense on super, I feel like he's the best non-LR, like, free-to-play unit in the game, which is why it's a little bit disappointing. Now, I do still think against an Android enemy, he could be quite effective. When we see the typings of... I think that information might be out now anyway after the data download, but I haven't seen it. When we see the typings for the Gammas and Cell Max, that are the last 2 phases for the Red Ribbon Red Zone, maybe this guy could have a spot there, right? Because remember, like 19 and Giro, their last phase is STR, although they absorb Key Blast, so probably not the best one to use of it, I guess. Then the Android 16, 17, and 18, none of their phase is their tech, so they don't have type advantage over him at any point. And this is where I want to see is this is with no support again, unfortunately. But what are we looking at defense-wise now? Yeah, 462k. That's without support. So once we get him with a support unit on the rotation, he's going to be looking very, very good, I think. So let me try, and we'll stay on this phase for as long as we can. So I will attack into the type disadvantage with everybody. And then, yeah, attack you with you. There we go. So, because I do want to see support and the Android enemy. So, but yeah, I think against an Android enemy, this guy could be a go-to free-to-play unit for the teams that he's on. It's just, unfortunately, against non-Android enemies, if he's sitting at like 450k defense with support, he's obviously going to get one-shot by Red Zone bosses' super attacks, which... You know, that's a complaint a lot of people make about, like, even summonable units now, right? Where they're in that level where they die to a super attack for a red zone boss, which is, realistically, a large percentage of units in the game. So you can't really hold that against, like, free-to-play units, right? If the hardest bosses in the game are, like, one-shotting them with a super. That's kind of what you would expect, almost, for a free-to-play. Like, if you're a full free-to-play account and you only have, like, majority free-to-play units, you are obviously going to struggle with like the hardest content in the game. So I don't necessarily see that as a huge drawback. I'm just trying to think of his practical applications for, like, you know, normal players. I say normal players, doesn't it? For non-free-to-play players like myself, is it's a case of where am I going to use this guy potentially? And like I say, I think maybe again. Oh no, we're going to get the Dokkan attack. So I guess we are just straight up killing all of these guys now. All right, well, I think even if I don't hit all the nodes, it's going to be GG for the Cell Juniors. We do have at least one more phase against a Cell though, so hopefully it's... Is it the next phase? I can't actually remember the lineup for this, because is Gohan or Cell the last boss of the Cell games Infinite Dragon Ball history? I think it might... Yeah, it is Gohan. Perfect. Okay, so now we have the setup that I wanted. We have the support. We have an Android enemy. We've only got 3 links, unfortunately. It would have been really good if this turn was the Super Saiyan 2 Great Saiyan Man. But this is going to be pretty good now for Gohan. So let's see. What is our start of turn defense here? Yeah, 535k. That's actually a little bit less than I was expecting. I guess the support, it probably factors in the 58% before the support. But still, 535k. I mean, even if this guy, again, Infinite Dragon Ball History, not the hardest difficulty content, but this guy, he should easily tank a super from this cell. Now, if we're talking about Red Zone, 500k defense against an android enemy, I mean, even like that 19 and Giro example that I gave, you know, you wouldn't really run him there. But with the amount of damage they do from a super, I'm fairly sure he probably still dies to getting super attacked from them, and they are type disadvantage to him, and they would potentially still kill him with a super attack. But we're going to see how much damage he takes here. I don't know how hard this cell hits, but I wouldn't expect it to do crazy damage. Yeah, still 100k. Yeah, see, again, it just comes back to exactly what I said. You make his post-EZA super attack greatly raises attack and defense for one turn, and he's potentially best free-to-play unit in the game. Because, especially when you're getting... We didn't get lucky here either because he didn't get an additional super. Like, especially on that first turn. Imagine a first turn against an android enemy where he's getting that full part of his passive. He could super attack 4 times, which means not only does he max out his passive in that first turn, but he's also buffing his defense with every single super attack. I think even if they just gave him greatly raises attack and normal raises defense for one turn, he would potentially be up there with top free-to-play units. So let me know what you guys think down below in the comment section. I do think he's a bit of a fumble overall. He had such potential, and whilst I don't think he's terrible, he's just definitely nowhere near as good as he could have been. I mean, his EZA barely gave him anything, right? It gave him extra attack lowering, extra defense and chance to super against an android, and then an extra bit of crit chance after he's done 3 supers. But it's still only 20%. So you still want to build him full additional, I think. This is the build that I gave mine. 18 additional 9 crit 3 dodge. Did I actually give him any skill orbs? Yeah, I gave him some very basic ones because I didn't want to give him any super good ones. But let me know what you guys think down below in the comments section. So that is going to be it for the video, guys. This has been the Masked Ningen. Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel if you are new. Check out the links down below for the Discord and the merch store. And I will see you all again soon. Have a good one.